Thank you. I'm not going to focus too much on this slide as an introduction of myself, but rather give you an overview of my background in project terms. So I started out as an undergraduate apprentice with BAE Systems. You see Eurofighter up there now as Typhoon. Program probably that took about 20 years into production from its development. Big company to little small company, making mass spectrometers for the scientific community, drug analysis, Olympics, sports, etc. Back into aerospace with a small company, Swiss company in this term, so SME, 250 people, very high technology, Swiss crystals. But that got me out into quite a bit of the world, particularly in the Western world, but also into deepest Russia. So I've been privy to some of Russia's engine programs, including the Saturn engine on the Sukhoi aircrafts. Jumped out of BAE Systems over into our lovely world in Vermont in the USA, managing General Dynamics for 3 years with the family. Program there is for the manufacture of an ultra-lightweight howitzer used in Afghanistan at the moment. Fires a projectile 30 kilometers with an accuracy of 5 meters. Broke out onto my own consultancy in project management services, looking after UK MOD's Tucano life extension program. Currently working for NATO in Belgium, what is known as SHAPE, the Supreme Headquarters Allied Powers Europe. What a name. But very shortly, as consultants they can maneuver very quickly. That's my next location in 15 days. So that's a bit about me. Why did human elements in project controls come up? I was asked as a military defense background to try and broaden the project controls environment and speakers, and I happily volunteered to back in spring of this year, but wanted to talk about something that was across the board, not something military, and hence the human element. Little disclaimer, this is all my opinion, it's not NATO or UK MOD. So why the topic? Human element. Isn't that fundamental in everything that people's talked about today? We've talked about tool sets and alike, data. Yeah, I thought so, so I wanted to talk about it. That's my experience working with humans. If you look at why, that's the first survey I looked at. It's pretty damning to say that in your industry, let's say construction engineering, that almost 50% of our organizations think that their project control teams are inadequately skilled. Let's focus on that for a little while now. You add on to that now the modern world, the modern environment. You're not talking to the person adjacent to you a lot of the time. You're not sending emails to just one or two people. It's going around the world. All your data, the reporting elements are going to multiple stakeholders. Certainly in my environment, multinational parties, different cultures, different interpretation methods and alike. It's key that the data that you're reporting for the key decision makers is going to be relevant. It's accurate. going forward. So what can we do about it? How can we assist ourselves, assist the team that we're developing and running with in a route forward to move our dimension, our skills situation another reference to aerospace with a helicopter there, but take a high-level overview. If we're looking to monitor and control our projects, report on those, what are the elements that are we reporting on? What are the requirements and needs of those elements? Who's the community that we're reporting to? What is the nature of that community? Look long-term. What are you actually aiming to obtain from these process and control sets? There must be an output, a relevant output that becomes a benefit not only for your company or organization, but a mutual situation that goes on and building that people, process, tool set. But people as a fundamental. You know, you'll see many presentations today about tool sets and alike. They're all operated, constructed by people. That human element is key. And I think fundamentally, when you're looking at introducing tool sets, particularly in the reporting dimension, treat it like a major change program. Business case, sponsors, key objectives, and consultation. Key working groups within the community. You know, how often have you had tool sets pushed down onto individuals or teams and alike without consultation and without that education, rationale for and alike? Empower people with these tool sets, but engage. I think today, again, a lot of focus at the bottom tier of this ladder. Data. Data forms information. That forms knowledge. And only then can you use and apply experience to provide wisdom. But it's that piece at the top that is the key strategy and route forward. If you look at the dimensions down the side, from the third tier up, downwards, it's all historical. You're reporting in historical data. EVM is historical. They don't give you that crystal ball. So use this pyramid, use it wisely, build upon it and add value. Look at the detail of your reporting and the levels of that reporting from a very tactical position, an individual project, all the way up to your strategic position, and tailor accordingly. Don't overwhelm the system, that system or person going forward. And with those escalating steps, provide the key data for those decision people and alike. So you've got customizable tool sets, you've got customizable dashboards. Use them wisely. Keep it simple. Keep it simple from a point that it's understandable from the actual output and the user, but also the key person that's inputting the data and providing that data. Another quick example at the bottom in just searching the community. What a statement. The technology companies taking part in the survey are the least likely to have optimized or monitored controls. Technology companies. Seems almost a contradiction in terms. So these are just snippets out there, just food for thought to take back into your own organizations and alike. So what are organizations and some of the industrial giants doing about it? If we look at maturity models, and I think this is a good example of the model that's being employed by Sellafield in developing its actual core resources in project management and elevating them up the challenge ladder, essentially, into more significant, more complex projects, and the actual skill sets according to those positions. They may not be perfect, and I know they're not, but they have a strategy. They have a development program that will hopefully and intentionally place the right people at the right spot at the right time, and if not, identify the gap and fill it, whether it's through outside resorting or internal development. So with that competency framework, obviously needs a standard to be developed, the evidence from the individuals or the team performance going forward. Keep it factual. Look at the feedback from the personnel, from the teams as you're developing that actual maturity model. Fill the gaps. Plan to cover the gaps, but also remunerate. How do you motivate people? How do you motivate teams? Output success is one, benefits, awards internally, and the like. Gratification in being sort of given that email that said success. I'm seeing quite a few of those in my domain at the moment. I may not know those people, but that's coming through. But match the complexity and compatibility of the people. Don't put the wrong person in the wrong place. Continue that focus, and we'll come on to improvements and a like. But with a focus chain, as demonstrated here, you've got that measurement. So where are we? What are we doing? What do we want to go? That route forward and the like. And what do we need to fill it and keep going and keep moving forward and continually going forward? So with factors there, just some of my experience and expertise, seeing change management and improvement processes coming through. It is key to get senior management on board. On board in dimensions that they can set the dimensions and the key objectives, but they understand the implications of those going down, what tool sets can be available, and processes, and how those integrate between the individual sets, but also the actual organization, and the like. Look at the functional leaderships that you're engaging. Ensure they're on board with what is being reported and the like. And focus that recruitment process. You've done your baselines, you've done your gap analysis. You should have a resource skill base and a gap that you need to fill going forward. Mentoring. The human element here is the key focus. Often overlooked. Most of your organizations will have expertise, probably underutilized. They will also have probably younger team members, probably a lot more enthusiastic in their organizations. Match them, catch them, bring your expertise and experience within the organization and grow the individuals at the lower chain. I think it's probably certainly an underutilized avenue within a company for increasing the knowledge and potential within your own staff. How many formal programs there are within organizations? I doubt there are many. Certainly within BAE Systems, I knew of a mentoring program that was very high level, very focused, taking key individuals, but it was quite limited. It was focusing on the really high flyer, typically, not everyone across the board. But everyone can benefit from a key mentor within our organization. And I think it helps incredibly to know that another party within the organization and company is paying time to you as the individual going forward. With that, the experience is imparted, the network can be grown, and that's self-developed. If we talk now just a little adjunct here about characterization of the key tool sets and outputs and how those influence again on the human element. Metrics. Talked about them. You've probably inundated with metrics and multiple lights and everything. But it's quality of those metrics, not quantity that counts. A few well chosen are better than a huge influx. Test, test, test. Again, it comes back to someone's asked a certain question of the project, or they've put a new tool set on with a nice traffic light project. They've not involved the actual parties that are being interrogated on that project, and you've got the question said, why am I asked for this, why am I doing it? Involve, engage. Yeah, if you want the right output and the benefit of not just data or accurate data, but information and the imparted knowledge, involve the people that you're referring to or referencing the data and the information from going upwards. That way, they will be more inclined to direct yourself upwards. Open, transparent. Number of occasions, certainly my experience, where actual data is being obtained unknown on the actual team, then used against them downstream at a higher level. What does it do? Bring it open, make it transparent. Everyone is knowing the reason for the evaluation and the time, and also the benefits. We said at the beginning on the metrics side, test, 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 focus groups, large organizations. There's still no caveat or reason why you can't introduce test groups at the beginning when you're doing this change management, and think of it as a change management position. So you may have key functions, key parties, engage those into the test community to ensure that the progression of your actual evaluation of the metrics are not only accurate, but informative, and decisions that are being made on that data are going to be beneficial to the company, and certainly using correct information. It'll never shoot the messenger, yeah. And keep it realistic. Value. Value added for all parties. Certainly the person asking or looking at the data wants to see that data and the value that it can generate to him in assistance in decision making fundamentally. But also the actual team parties that are actually providing that data, in return, they get the commensurate value coming back. So there's the examinee, there's the examiner, in that critical chain path. But don't forget stakeholders. That's being disseminated potentially to a huge number of people. You look at present organization, I've got 28 nations to get buy-in, different cultures, from Italy to Poland or the Eastern Bloc, with very different views on information. Spend the time ensuring that value is beneficial and the equation is simple. Keep it simple. Too many times you will see information overload, and we can come back to it later on. Too many times a screen will flash up with hundreds of little spreadsheets involved, little Express charts up in the right, up in the left. Wow. If I had a bad night the night before, that's really going to set me off, and red lights going off everywhere. Keep it simple. Keep it focused. Look at that fundamental data that is required at each level and progressively focus that data to a strategic level from the tactical level. Avoid too much detail at each level. Avoid the minutiae, delving down deep. And all you're going to get with too much oversight is demotivation. All your PMs, your senior PMs, are going to be fighting email chains, asking for data, asking for this data, asking for that data, where they can't see the benefit and a light. So what happens there? I can be sitting as a senior PM or as a PM consultant. I'm reporting normal data. Another party comes in, they want data from another side. Another party comes in, they want another examination of the data. You're explaining that data. You've then got financial coming in with a different perspective. The PM's then wondering why he's red lights on financial and he's fine on his project, because financial have got a financial year, not a project calendar. Educate all the way through. This is really just an encapsulation of that piece, and keeping everyone on board throughout the process and going forward so that the momentum of the actual process and benefits are relayed. But again, it's an educational process for the individuals and alike. Ensure they're aware of the rationale for all this data. And the key pertinent data that they're actually producing, so that there is benefit. One of the very important aspects in the controls and the reporting and management is key resource. We talked about how critical that resource is and the skill sets that are involved. You're actually planning projects, five-year timelines. You've got generic resources on there. You need to know those key skill sets. You're optimizing amongst many projects. It is a very key discipline. There are tool sets out there like sales and process planning. Again, those need education because they need resource and time from the PM. They need resource information from that project manager in a timely manner so that they can actually establish their timeline in actual operational planning. Key process, very undervalued, and probably not too well implemented in many organizations. Hence, lack of forecasting. Just drop a little bit in about earned value methodology. it's early 2002 when I was involved on a Department of Defense program. Quite significant development contract. The DoD started off earned value. They know it inside out. The great beauty of earned value from its actual tools and process is its involvement, its engagement. It necessitates the project team to plan to a huge amount of detail in their timeline. Not just schedules, but resource, types of resource, objectives, metrics on that actual task. It's then evaluated by the opposing team and the customer. Their subject matter experts assess that timeline and they come to an agreement. They go through an integrated baseline review. It is probably the most thorough process in planning that I've been through. It gives you a very good reporting tool. It's used in contractuals for the actual percentage remuneration to the project on time or ahead of time. So it's key from a business side from that point of view. But again, bear in mind, the data it uses is historical. It's probably about 1 month out of date at least. Gives you an idea of where you've come from, where you've been. But think again, that forecasting bit, that wisdom piece, does your extrapolation ensure that you're actually going to achieve what you plan to achieve? No, not necessarily. You don't know how many hurdles are going to occur in the way. You have a prediction, and therefore an excellent early warning system. But as the use of human resource, it's probably the best system and indicator I know. Process. If we look at visualization, and again coming back to our key piece in here on dashboards. Use the human to its best. You can represent two-dimensional displays. A human can absorb a lot more information than just two-dimensional. Put the scalar piece onto it, put it into three-dimensional, remain within that simple complexity, but make it a little more exciting. So involve those dimensions of visualization, and you'll see the benefit. And that's just a simple two-dimensional with the added category of scales and color. Talked a little bit about the strategy. What you need to do is to sort of plan the route forward. Some of the characterization that you need to be aware of in developing that route. There's going to be hurdles. There's going to be hazards that are going to trip you up. And it's better to be aware of those and try and prevent them before they occur. A lot of the time, the tool set doesn't deliver what you want, what you thought it would deliver. Best plans. The tool set is slow. How often has that happened? You try and do financial snapshots, and you set it off working in the good system. You wait a few minutes, keep prompting it. It's going to hurt the team that are actually producing that data. Training. Perfect world, you wouldn't need to, but I don't think anyone is, hopefully here, doesn't need some education or skill enhancement for their positions. Mentioned impose a tool set, get a tool set rebuked. Sabotage. There's going to be some director that you haven't consulted that has his minions that will sabotage your program. No doubt about it. Call it a plant, call it what you like. They'll try and find a way. But if you engage that test group, you've probably got a better chance of bringing that person on and offsetting him. Talked about resource. Get the right people for the right task. This is a nice one that came through. So you got your square, and he's not fitting in his hole. So you put him on a diet. You get him in the right attitude. Give him a little exercise, bit of training. Get his mentality right so he knows what he's doing. And I like. Then he'll fit in and be productive. So he's got into that nice round cubicle. Awareness. Humans got 3 dimensions of learning style. Some like to just read the instruction manual. You might need to do that with the IKEA products and the like. Some like the visual piece. Or some like just go on and do it test. So in my style, sort of the Italians just like to just get up and go. The Polish would have to have it all written. The Germans would have to have written it 3 times over, probably. And I'm like, whoa. Colour deficiency. 1 in 10 male has got a green-red deficiency. And here we are producing traffic lights that grow red, amber, green. Just be aware of that. So that's what would look like to the colour deficient party. Not much of a traffic light anymore. So ensure you embellish that with maybe an R, an A, and a G. Simple pieces that go forward. My head of project management office, colour deficient. My previous director was colour deficient. It is surprising. Be aware. Beauty. Dilbert helps me out a great deal. Just take a little bit of pause for that. Talked about data. Probably too often today. We've all got bias. We all support a different team. Probably all support a different team in the actual organization. And I like, be aware of that potential issue when you're looking at these situations. Lovely one, the ostrich. Ooh, don't know about it. Don't want to know about it. Party's going to take 0 risk. I'm not going to move. I'm just going straight forward. The overconfident approach. Probably in our organizations, there is a lot of fatigue. We're overworking our individuals. You put them in an environment that they are overstretched and overwhelmed, they're going to hit this. They're going to hit decision fatigue. Doesn't matter what best information you give them. It's only information to make a decision on. That human is still making the decision. He's overstretched, he's overwhelmed, overburdened. He's probably going to make the wrong decision. So you need to be aware and take it off. Little tack here, artificial intelligence, great. Going to take a long while till they can actually imitate a human brain. There was supposed to be another speaker, I think, on artificial intelligence, which was going to compete with this timing, actually. Would have been quite interesting. Great in the mundane tasks. Great in the number crunching. But that's all. Leave your humans, empower the humans that you have and your team. So as we looking forward, just to try and bring this to some conclusion and take some thoughts away, there's two areas. Training is key. Tailor it to your business, tailor it to your needs, tailor it to the individual. Ensure you're aware of your organizational skill and skill requirement and plug that gap. Plug that gap by internal or external sourcing. But do it. Otherwise you'll have an issue. Oh, I forgot the plug there. Consultants as interim, sorry about that. And as a final takeaway, when you're doing these change programs, do tailor. Very different from a 250-party organization, high technology, to a multinational stakeholder organization. Do engage the PMs, empower them. Scrutinize, health check, test, so you see the benefit and the outcome. Keep that focus and check we're doing it right. Thank you for your attention. Sorry? Yeah, sure. You ask it.
You guys got any questions?
That's it.